Welcome. Today we will do a contemplative practice that helps us to cultivate interior stillness. I was inspired to make this video because of having watched Richard Rohr's YouTube on becoming stillness. It is very helpful and I'd recommend that you watch it. So to help us to center on our intention to coming together today, which is to be open to the presence of God in this moment, let's take time for just sitting up straight and closing our eyes and becoming aware of our breathing. And on your in-breath, saying silently, opening to God. And on your out-breath, let everything else go. Amen. Contemplative practices help us to cultivate interior stillness. They help us to notice more deeply the subtle stirrings within our own soul and to notice the promptings of God within us. The use of the breath is one way to help us to cultivate interior stillness. I've had the good fortune of being involved with their sisters and brothers in the Buddhist community, both at the Shambhala Center and at their retreat center in Tatamagouche. And I've learned some of their rich contemplative practices that help to cultivate interior stillness through use of the breath and working with the mind. I've learned that the mind has the aspects of thinking, which is very obvious, but also the aspect of awareness, of deep noticing. And when we are still, we begin to notice not only the deluge of thoughts, but we may begin to notice that underlying those thoughts is a stillness and a spaciousness. As a Christian, I believe that that is the presence of God, and that the breath that I am noticing is the breath of God, or the breath of Christ. So I've been able to take the Buddhist practices and integrate them into my Christian contemplative practice. And it has helped me to deepen my sense of interior stillness. Even though I continue to be plagued with thoughts. But it's important that we remember that thinking is so natural. It's not a sense of failure. So accompanying our interior stillness, our efforts at interior stillness, it's really important that we also have a sense of gentleness on ourselves and a sense of non-judgment, of simply noticing with wonder, with openness. And begin to notice this. I invite you to begin to notice in your own efforts at interior stillness how when you begin to judge that you are thinking once again of the future or the past, that you just let them go. Simply see them as the way the mind is. Let them go. Use those opportunities to develop gentleness and letting go and a coming back to the breath, to this breath of God flowing through you. When we watch a fire, or watch waves on a shore, or stars at night, this is simple presence. This is awareness and pure noticing without any judgment. It's a connectedness, and it's relaxing for the mind. So when we take time in a moment to be in stillness, I invite you too to relax your mind, to be open, and to notice when you start judging yourself and how that causes a tightness in the mind. It may be very subtle, but it's helpful to begin to notice that. So we want to cultivate openness and gentleness. So there's a thinking aspect to the mind, and there's an awareness or noticing aspect to the mind. So we want to cultivate that noticing. When we use the breath for prayer and interior stillness, the breath is something that is always accessible. It brings us into the present moment when we are aware of our breathing. So we're going to take a moment now to be still and to begin to cultivate a deeper stillness so that we can touch into the deep ground of God, which is in our inmost stillness, and to touch into our oneness with God in the depths of our stillness. So I invite you to sit up straight and to close your eyes and to simply notice your breath. And as you begin to notice the thoughts coming in and out, just let them go with gentleness and come back. Come back to this breath, in this moment, to this breath of God within you, in this moment. And when your mind wanders, notice your thinking. Come back to this breath of God. Be present to God in this moment. And when your mind wanders again, practice gentleness, stillness, by letting it go, coming back to this breath of God in this moment, to the deep ground of God in the depths of your stillness. So we'll take a few moments now for quiet. Amen. Thank you for joining me.